Have you ever started your day the same way you always do? Coffee brewing, sunlight filtering through the blinds, the familiar rhythm of routine, and yet your spirit feels empty. Everything you once cared about now seems silent, distant, disconnected. Your goals no longer excite you. Your habits feel pointless, and the quiet in the room is louder than anything happening outside. We've all felt that moment, that invisible moment when it seems like the world kept moving and you were the only one left behind. And in that moment, motivational quotes don't help. Happy songs sound fake, and when someone tells you, just be grateful, it only makes you feel more alone. Because you're not begging for a shortcut to happiness. You're searching for something real, something solid, something that can hold you up when everything else feels like it's slipping through your fingers. That's where Stoicism steps in, not as a cheerleader, but as a steady, silent guide. The Stoics never promised sunshine. They promised clarity. They didn't offer an escape. They handed you tools. Tools to help you stand when everything's crumbling, to help you breathe when the pressure builds, to help you endure, not perfectly, but with dignity. Marcus Aurelius, a man who lost children, led an empire through war and plague, and faced grief most of us can't imagine, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just a quote, it's a lifeline. Because when the world turns cold, the fire has to come from within. And Stoicism teaches us how to light that fire. In this video, we're not here to pretend pain doesn't exist. We won't throw blind optimism at you like it's some magic pill. Instead, we'll sit in the dark with you for a moment and then help you walk through it with steady steps. We'll explore how to reclaim your emotional center when everything feels lost, how to separate what hurts from what truly defines you, and how to find meaning in the middle of the mess. This isn't therapy. This isn't philosophy class. This is real-life wisdom for real-life struggle. And if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you've tried everything and still wake up with that ache in your chest, if you're searching for silent strength, not noise, not hype, just truth, then this message is for you. Because this feeling, it won't last forever. But what you learn from it, that will stay with you. Let's begin. Part number 1, all emotions, even sadness, are temporary. Have you ever sat in your car, engine off, hands gripping the wheel, and just stared through the windshield, unable to move? The world outside keeps going. Honking cars, people laughing on the sidewalk. The usual rush of life. But inside, it's like time just stopped. And in that stillness, a voice in your mind whispers, "Why do I feel this way? Will I ever feel okay again?" That voice is heavy. It doesn't yell. It wears you down in silence. But here's what the Stoics want you to remember. This feeling is not forever. Emotions, even the darkest ones, are like weather. And you are not the weather. You are the sky. Marcus Aurelius, writing alone at night during a time of war and plague, said it plainly. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. He wasn't denying emotion. He was reminding us that what you dwell on, what you feed your mind, begins to shape who you are. If sadness lives in your thoughts too long, it stains the walls of your inner world. But here's the truth that breaks the cycle. Sadness is not your identity. It's a visitor. It's the rain, not the roof over your head. It may stay for a while, soak through your clothes, chill you to the bone. But just like all weather, it moves on. And when it does, you're still standing. So the question isn't, how do I get rid of sadness? The better question is, how do I sit with it without letting it control me? That's where Stoicism comes in, not with a fake smile, not with good vibes only, but with a framework for staying centered while the storm passes. Start here. Label the feeling, but don't wear it. Say, I feel sad, not I am sad. That small shift keeps your identity separate from the emotion. Breathe like a mountain. When emotion floods you, come back to your breath. Deep in, slow out. The body leads the mind home. Remind yourself, this too is a passing cloud. You've had good days before. They came after a storm you thought you wouldn't survive. This one will pass too. Look around your life. Think of a time you were crushed. Maybe it was a breakup, a job loss, a betrayal. You thought it was the end, but it wasn't. You're here. So trust the evidence. You survive things. You endure, and you grow. Stoicism isn't here to erase sadness. It's here to help you observe it without becoming it. It's not don't feel, it's feel and keep going. And when you start to see your emotions like the sky sees its clouds, coming and going, you stop panicking when the skies get gray. You become calmer, stronger, wiser. You begin to say, this feeling isn't forever, but how I respond, that shapes who I become. And just like that, the grip of emotion loosens. You don't need to fight the storm. You just need to remember it will pass, and you are the sky it passes through. Part number 2, patience is power. Some mornings it's not the chaos that breaks you. It's the repetition, the quiet ache of doing the right thing, again and again, with no visible reward in sight. You go to work. You show up for people. You try to be better, more disciplined, more focused. And yet everything still feels the same. That's when doubt creeps in. Is this even working? Why keep trying when nothing's changing? But here's the Stoic answer. True change doesn't come with a bang. It comes with quiet, relentless effort. We live in a world addicted to speed, fast food, fast results, overnight transformations. But your soul doesn't work like that. Marcus Aurelius once said, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. In other words, be patient with the world, but firm with your process, because big things take time. And patience is not weakness, it's forged strength. Think of a blacksmith. He doesn't expect the steel to bend in one hit. He expects resistance, he expects to sweat, he expects the metal to fight back, because that's what strong things do. And with every strike, every spark, every hour he spends by the fire, he's not getting discouraged, he's getting closer. You are that blacksmith, and your life, your discipline, your peace of mind, those are the swords you're forging. And yes, it takes time. The world doesn't hand you results just because you want them. It watches, it tests, it asks, do you really mean it? Will you keep going even when no one claps? Stoicism teaches us this. Success is not a moment, it's a rhythm of doing the right thing on the days when you don't feel like it, of choosing growth even when it's uncomfortable, of staying in the fight long after the feeling is gone. You want proof? Look at nature. A redwood tree takes hundreds of years to reach its full height. The bamboo spends years underground, building roots before it ever breaks the surface. But when it does, it shoots up fast, strong, unstoppable. Why? Because the foundation was there. The work was happening, even when no one could see it. That's your life right now. Just because the results aren't visible doesn't mean the growth isn't happening. Your inner discipline, your self-respect, your emotional strength, it's all forming below the surface. So don't rush the process. Fear quitting, not slowness. Because the man who refuses to quit, he becomes unshakable. You want to be that man? Then keep hammering. Keep waking up even when you're tired. Keep showing up for your habits, your boundaries, your values. That's Stoicism in action. Not glamorous, not loud, just steady like a mountain. Every rep in the gym, every time you choose silence over reaction, every time you sit with discomfort instead of fleeing from it, that's progress. Even if no one sees it, especially when no one sees it, and one day when it all clicks, when the strength inside you finally matches the storms outside, you'll realize you weren't failing, you were becoming. So remember this, patience isn't waiting around. It's choosing to show up without needing applause. It's holding the line when everything tells you to quit. It's trusting that the seeds you plant today will grow, as long as you don't walk away. Because the Stoic doesn't chase shortcuts. He masters the process, he earns the peace, and he becomes powerful, not by rushing ahead, but by never stopping. Part number 3, Helping others is healing yourself. There are moments when the world feels unbearably silent. You sit in your room, scrolling past faces and voices, all moving forward, while you feel stuck in place. Maybe something broke inside you, a relationship, a dream, a part of your identity. And no matter how many motivational quotes you read, they all sound like echoes in an empty hallway. Here's the truth no one tells you when you're hurting. Sometimes the fastest way to pull yourself out of the darkness is to turn and light a candle for someone else. Stoic philosophy doesn't tell us to pretend our suffering doesn't exist. It doesn't say, get over it. It says, transform it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, what is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. Meaning, you're not separate from the world. You're a thread in the same fabric. And when you lift someone else, you're not just doing a noble act. You're repairing your own soul in the process. Let me paint you a scene. A nurse on a night shift, emotionally exhausted after losing a patient, walks into another room to comfort a stranger. She holds their hand, listens to their fears, and offers a word of calm. That act doesn't erase her grief, but in giving comfort, she finds something solid to stand on. That's what Stoicism calls active compassion. Helping, not because you have it all together, but because you understand what it means to fall apart. And you don't need to be a nurse to do this. Maybe it's texting a friend who's gone quiet. Maybe it's buying a coffee for the man who's always cleaning the office when everyone else has left. Maybe it's just looking someone in the eye and saying, I see you. I'm here. In a world that's often loud, selfish, and disconnected, these small acts are revolutionary, and they heal the giver just as much as the receiver. The Stoics knew this. They didn't live in monasteries. They were emperors, slaves, soldiers, citizens. They lived in the world and understood that meaning doesn't come from isolation. It comes from contribution. Because when you're in pain, your first instinct is to shrink, to close in, to guard yourself. But what if, instead of shrinking, you opened? What if, in your most fragile moment, you turned towards someone else and said, you're not alone either? That's not weakness. That's Stoic strength. You see, helping others isn't about being a savior. It's about being present. It's not solving someone's life. It's simply showing up with kindness, with clarity, with presence. And in doing so, you anchor yourself. There's a strange magic to it. When you focus on someone else's pain, your own becomes lighter. When you hold space for another, you expand the space inside yourself. Not because the sadness disappears, but because it's no longer the only thing that defines your reality. Modern psychology calls this pro-social behavior. Stoicism just calls it wisdom. Because the best way to get out of your head is to move with your hands, to give, to serve, to care. And that doesn't mean burning yourself out to please others. It means aligning with the truth that we're all in this together. Marcus didn't say, make the world perfect. He said, what harms the hive harms the bee. Translation: when you help another, you're protecting the system you depend on. And when you protect the system, you protect yourself. So the next time life feels heavy, ask yourself, who can I help today? Not to distract, not to run, but to remember that you still have value to give. Because when you give, even a little, you prove to yourself that you're still standing, still capable, still connected, and in that act, your healing begins. Part number 4, emotional mastery, not emotional suppression. There's a moment right after something hits you, a harsh word, a deep disappointment, a betrayal. Your heart races, your jaw tightens, your fists clench. That's not weakness. That's biology. That's being human. But what you do next, that's character. Stoicism doesn't teach us to be emotionless. It teaches us to be the master, not the slave. Epictetus said it best. You may not control what happens, but you always control how you respond. In that space between what hits you and how you react is where your freedom lives. Let's be honest. Most people think stoic means cold, detached, robotic, as if being strong means never crying, as if being wise means pretending you're never angry, never afraid, never heartbroken. That's not stoicism, that's denial. And denial isn't strength, It's fragility in disguise. The Stoics didn't suppress their emotions. They studied them. They asked, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Because here's the truth. Emotions are signals, not sentences. They're weather patterns, not your identity. You can feel grief and still speak with clarity. You can feel rage and still choose restraint. You can feel overwhelmed and still take a breath and respond with grace. That is emotional mastery. Picture a storm outside your house. If you pretend it's not there, the roof gets ripped off. If you panic and run into it blindly, you get swept away. But if you close the windows, take a breath, and wait with presence, you ride it out stronger than before. That's what Stoicism offers. Not an escape from emotion, but an anchor in the middle of it. And this is not just philosophy, it's neuroscience. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics taught centuries ago. Naming an emotion weakens its grip. Pausing before reacting restructures your brain. Every time you choose stillness over chaos, you're literally rewiring your mind toward resilience. So ask yourself, what do you do with your emotions? Do you run from them, explode with them, or sit with them and let them pass? A Stoic doesn't shame their sadness. They sit beside it like an old friend. A Stoic doesn't deny their anger. They turn it into action that serves their values. A Stoic doesn't ignore anxiety. They use it to prepare, not to panic. You are not your emotions. You're the one who witnesses them. You're the builder of your inner fortress, brick by brick, with every calm breath taken in the storm. And that fortress, it's not made of steel. It's made of repetition, the small daily choices, to pause before speaking, to respond instead of react, to choose the harder right over the easier rage. It's built in traffic jams, in arguments, in moments of heartbreak. It's built when you say, I want to scream, but I'll listen instead. I want to fight, but I'll understand. I want to shut down, but I'll stay open. That's how emotional mastery is earned, not in books, not in theory, but in the tension between impulse and intention. The world is loud. Reactions are easy. But you're here for more. You're here to choose discipline over drama, clarity over chaos, and peace, not because life is calm, but because you are. Remember this, you don't need to be fearless. You just need to be aware. That awareness, that's your superpower. And every time you use it, you're not suppressing emotion, you're leading it. That's Stoicism. That's freedom. That's how you become the strongest man in the room. Not by silencing your emotions, but by mastering them. Part number 5, inner happiness is built from discipline, not external success. What does happiness really look like? Is it standing on a stage bathed in applause, a 6-figure paycheck, a luxury car, a million followers? Or is it something quieter, something steadier, like waking up and knowing, truly knowing, that you respect the man in the mirror? In a world that worships attention and possessions, Stoicism offers a radical truth. Real happiness doesn't come from what you own. It comes from who you are when no one's watching. That truth is inconvenient. It's not sexy. It doesn't get headlines, but it will build a life that doesn't collapse when the noise dies down. Look around. How many people do you know who have it all, but still feel hollow? How many chase another deal, another compliment, another dopamine hit, and still can't sleep at night? Why? Because when your self-worth depends on things outside of you, you're never truly safe. Money can be lost, fame fades, people change, but discipline, your ability to live by your values, that stays. That's the source of inner peace. That's the kind of happiness that can't be taken away. Think about Helen Keller, born blind and deaf, cut off from a world of sound and sight. She could have surrendered. She could have accepted the narrative society had for her, one of limits, of pity, but she didn't. With the help of her teacher, Anne Sullivan, Helen fought to communicate. Letter by letter, word by word, through her palm, not her voice, she learned to speak, not because she wanted attention, but because she refused to live without purpose. She once said, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened." Helen didn't need light to see, because her vision came from within. That's what Stoicism calls inner clarity, living aligned with reason, choosing effort over ease, value over validation. Or take Thomas Edison, a man who failed over 10,000 times, trying to invent the light bulb. Most would have quit, most did, but not Edison. To him, every failure was data. Every wrong attempt was a stepping stone. "I have not failed," he said. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That wasn't just optimism, it was discipline in action. It was refusing to let frustration rewrite his identity. It was choosing long-term purpose over short-term pleasure. And in doing that, he didn't just light up the world, he illuminated the Stoic path. To keep going, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Now ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped chasing applause and started chasing alignment? What if success wasn't about impressing others, but about not disappointing yourself? Happiness isn't the vacation. It's the choice to show up to your life every day, even when no one claps. It's waking up early to train your body. It's saying no to distractions that pull you from your purpose. It's choosing kindness when you want revenge. It's the silence after doing the hard thing and the pride that comes with it. That's the kind of happiness Stoicism gives you. Not loud, not flashy, but unshakable. Because it's built on what can't be taken from you, your discipline, your values, your choices. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." So much of our pain comes not from what's real, but from what we think we're missing. But when you return to your values, when you live with quiet consistency, you realize you're not missing anything. You've had the power the whole time. Your job is not to impress the world, it's to honor the man you're becoming. And when you do that, the world may or may not notice, but you will, and that is where true happiness begins. Maybe you found this video on a day when you didn't want advice. You just wanted to feel understood. And that's okay. Sometimes what we need most is not someone telling us how to fix everything, but someone reminding us that we are not broken. You see, Stoicism doesn't offer false promises. It won't tell you everything will magically be okay. But it does offer something far more powerful: clarity, calm, and control. It reminds you that your emotions are real, but they are not rulers. It shows you that pain is part of the process, not proof that you're failing. And it teaches you that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to not give up today. If there's one lesson that echoes across every Stoic line, every ancient scroll, every hard-earned insight, it's this: you can't always control what life throws at you, but you can always control what you throw back. The world is chaotic. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall through. Your heart will break. But your response, your mindset, your values, your discipline, those are yours. And in those, you find your true freedom. So when the anxiety creeps in, pause. When the doubt shows up, breathe. When the sadness clings to you like fog, sit with it, then stand up anyway. And remember this: you don't need to become someone else to be worthy. You don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to live with intention. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the pressure to feel good all the time. Instead, ask yourself, what does it look like to act with integrity today? That's it. That's the compass. That's the path forward. Because healing isn't always loud. It's not always dramatic. Often it's subtle, like choosing water over wine, like going for a walk instead of doom scrolling, like turning off the noise and journaling your thoughts. These aren't grand acts, but they're sacred. And over time, they build a life of quiet confidence, grounded values, and emotional peace. You may feel stuck now, but the truth is, you're already moving. Every moment you choose awareness over reaction, every second you choose discipline over distraction, you are stepping out of the fog, not because the world changed, but because you did. That's the Stoic life. That's the real power. Not avoiding the storm, but learning to walk through it without losing yourself. So whatever you're facing, whatever weight you're carrying, whatever silence you're sitting in, Just know this: you were not meant to be rescued. You were meant to rise. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to Stoic Wisdom Daily. This isn't just a channel. It's a space to reclaim your inner power and rise with clarity, strength, and purpose. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men and women living with courage and calm. You in? Let's grow together.